Coming up on ATV News.
We'll show you why the sheriff's office is having trouble finding deputies.
And how the government shutdown is affecting you.
Are you having to take the long way up Old Main Hill? I'll tell you why coming up.
Coming up in sports, BYU was in town for the first time since 2010, but it wasn't the final score that had people talking after the game.
We're starting to see some yellow on the leaves, but coming up on ATV weather, are we going to see some snow on them?
That and more coming up on ATV News. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Aaron Griffiths.
And I'm Brandon Fonda. What do you think is most important what do you think is the most important part of government? Road maintenance, education?
What about a local police force? ATV's Brianna Bodley tells us how Cache County is struggling to hire enough officers when there isn't much money to go around.
Every time a police officer fires up his engine, he puts himself in danger. Accidents and dangerous situations are a part of the job, and police chiefs say they need the best.
It seems to me that we're getting less and less qualified candidate interest in coming into Logan and being a police officer.
The county spends over $14 million on public safety, but with competitive neighbors, sometimes the best is still hard to find.
I've been finding that they're willing to pack their bags and leave after a few years and go to one of those other agencies that offers a greater wage potential than Logan City.
We raise it, and then other entities, other law enforcement entities raise their wage.
Right now, the county only offers just under $14, and Logan offers just over $16. Compared to the $18 to $23 they can find out of the valley.
One of the challenges that we have is that our retirement for law enforcement has just skyrocketed over the last few years. We're now paying over 32% of their salary into a retirement plan.
Balancing with benefits like these, they try to stay competitive, but it still doesn't quite match up.
We're probably at the lower end of the spectrum as it relates to wages and benefits.
And the police force has a yearly gap to fill.
We lose several employees per year.
It's a constant battle.
Lemon says they have to rely on deputies who are loyal to the valley to stick around. Brianna Bodley, ATV News.
Lemon says that they can't hope for any change before next July. That's when the county will decide on a new budget.
A family is still out of their house today. It's been over a week since they were forced out of their home because their downstairs tenant released poisonous toxins into the air. This house in North Logan had to be evacuated last week when police say a 37-year-old woman tried to commit suicide. The woman ground up and ate castor beans, making ricin, a highly poisonous substance. After she ate them, she talked to her cousin, who was worried, and called the police. By the time she was taken to the hospital and police knew what happened, a hazmat crew was called in to check the house, because the family upstairs had to evacuate. Neighbors say they were scared for their own safety.
I didn't know if it was airborne or if I was in danger or my family was in danger. That's what I was a little bit ticked off about.
The house is sealed off until the health department gives the okay.
The federal government shutdown is a little more than a week old, and the effects of it are being felt right here in Cache Valley. Our Eric Jungblut shows you how the shutdown of the Department of Agriculture is affecting USU.
Take a trip down to the Forestry Sciences Laboratory on the east end of campus, and you'll find a note telling you that the office is closed until the government shutdown ends. Go to the Poisonous Plant Research Laboratory at the north end of campus, and you'll find more of the same. The U.S. Department of Agriculture oversees these two departments, but with the service shut down, the funding isn't coming.
It is kind of silly to some of us that we're even closing down these areas where people just drive through or walk through and enjoy the beauties of nature, and somehow they can't access them anymore.
Governor Herbert is talking about the shutdown of Utah's national parks, but Utah's forests are feeling the effects too. If you take a ride up Logan Canyon, be careful.
If you're going to go out into wooded areas like these, do so at your own risk, because there might not be many Forest Service employees around.
The closure of national parks cost students at the Edith Bowen Laboratory School a trip to Grand Teton National Park. According to a statement from the school, students went on the field trip, but they couldn't enter the park. They stayed at a park facility on private land and still got to learn about the Tetons. The shutdown drags on in Utah, but in Washington, they're trying to find a compromise.
My suggestion to the Speaker has been and will continue to be, let's stop the excuses. Let's take a vote in the House. Let's end this shutdown right now. Let's put people back to work.
Eric Jungblut, ATV News.
In the dark and cold, fans were determined to get a good seat.
Furloughed departments at USU will reopen when the shutdown ends, but until then, you can go to usa.gov to see which government services are still available. All right, coming up on ATV News.
In the dark and cold, fans were determined to get a good seat to Friday's big game. We'll show you how they did it.
And we'll tell you why your path up Old Main might have to change.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Welcome back, Aggies. Old Main is an important part of USU, and walking up Old Main Hill can be tiring. And it could now take you even a little longer to get to class. We sent out our Marie Tietze to tell us more about the construction on Old Main Hill.
If you were on Old Main Hill today, you would see orange safety fences, danger signs, and construction equipment.
I would use this path last year. I went down that way, which I had never done before because I was trying to get more to the amphitheater, and I was kind of scared by it. It's kind of true that it's really bad.
Which is one reason why Old Main Hill needs some remodeling.
Risk management says that they're concerned about the tripping hazards along the gravel path and walking down the older stairs, making it so you have to go around.
It's kind of an interesting topic, especially after such a tragic event happened on Old Main, and then it's just kind of convenient that we're figuring out, oh, we can be sued because this is dangerous for the students. But at the same time, walking up and down it before that, I mean, it wasn't on the top of my head, but I mean, it did become an issue.
Quinn Whitaker, project manager over the construction, declined being on camera, but said the real reason is that USU has experienced a large number of conflicts due to the litigation from students, campus visitors, and others who have tripped, fallen, or slipped on the sidewalks and feel it necessary to sue the university. Therefore, it has now become less expensive to replace bad concrete than to go through the legal challenges that follow such actions. Marie Tietze, ATV News.
Whitaker says that the construction is halfway done and should be complete by the end of November.
Well, the quad is empty now, but that was not the case Thursday night when it was filled with students camping out to get a seat to Friday's game against BYU. Jenna Lynn is live on the quad to show you more. Jenna, how did the campout go in the cold weather?
Thanks, Brandon. Well, it certainly was cold, but it didn't seem to hurt the turnout. By about 10 o'clock, there was tents like these covering the entire quad, with students fitting as many people as possible into each one. The quad filled up with tents Thursday as students got ready to cram themselves in for the night in tents of all shapes and sizes.
We got the old 6-man tent. Yeah. 7 are fitting in there.
Yeah. Possibly 8. Maybe 10.
All with the goal to get in a half hour early to the USU-BYU football game.
All we know is they said to come camp here and at some point we'll get a bracelet.
Of course, the beloved wristbands that everyone's waiting for, still at that random time during the night.
Even though snow was showing on the mountains, students prepared for a cold night. This tent even had a stove inside of it.
We're Aggies, it's part of the Cache Valley experience.
At a brisk 38 degrees, it's absolutely freezing out here, and it's only supposed to get colder as the night goes on. But that's not stopping Aggie spirit. If you can see in the dark here, the quad is filled with tents.
Go Aggies!
It's cold. We're just gonna snow, but it's worth it, I guess. We better get good seats if we're gonna stay out here all night.
That was the worry a lot of people had as thousands of students crowded in line at 4 a.m. to get their wristbands.
We have about 5,000 wristbands, so there's no need to push. You guys are all gonna get one. Just be patient. We have plenty. You can run for 10 freaking hours.
They only gave us one card swiper. That's a
What? Are you kidding me?
But the card swiper was taking too long as people were being rushed through as fast as possible.
And when you get to that door up there, don't giant mob it. The cops are just going to stop you and you'll never get through the doorway.
People pushed and shoved their way to their wristband, but even with this frustration, many students said it was worth it in the end.
Go Aggies! Go Aggies! Go Aggies!
Well, as you could see, there was quite a bit of tension in the line that stretched almost all the way down the quad. Cops were called in case anything got out of control, but in the end, everything seemed to work out pretty smoothly considering, and everyone got their wristbands. Back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Jenna. According to the herd, about 2,200 students camped out and got wristbands.
Man, weren't you one of those people that camped out, Brandon?
Yes, I was, and it was freezing cold, and now I'm sick.
I bet. I'm sure you're not alone in that.
No.
Speaking of cold, when we come back, we'll have Brianna Bodley with your weekly weather report, and we'll let you know how cold it's going to be next week.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
All right, Aggies, hopefully you can hear me this time because we have been having some difficulties. I apologize, but no worries. First of all, it happened this morning when I was going online to find out what your weather forecast was, and this was what I got. Unfortunately, this government shutdown is really hitting us everywhere. Not to worry, though, I was able to find it after all. So let's go to the national radar. As you can see right over here, pardon me, in the Midwest, there's a lot of precipitation. And then over here on the East Coast, that green means there are major thunderstorms. Thank heavens we live in Utah, where it is calm and beautiful. Now, if we go to a close-up look of Utah, you can see that there's a little bit of precipitation down here in the farther south. But up here in Logan, it's looking pretty good. Now, if you noticed just a couple of minutes ago, it was raining, but it's clearing up already, and it's going to stay that way for, well, the rest of the day. Let's go to our 7-day forecast. So as you can see today, it was a low of 65, or a high of 65 and a low of 41, and there was only a 10% chance of precipitation. But that's the weather. Fall means rain, right? And tomorrow, Thursday, we are probably going to have a lot of it. High of 55, low of 38, and expect some thunderstorms. So don't forget your galoshes on your way to class tomorrow. Friday, however, it's going to get even colder, high chance of snow, so make sure you have those really warm coats out. Break out everything from your winter storage. Now is the time. Don't delay anymore, because on Saturday, it's just going to stay cold at a 61, low of 36. And then we get to Sunday, another high chance of snow, a high of 53, low of 32. And folks, it's probably going to stay closer to the 32 than the 53. So make sure that you are ready for the cold weather. On Monday, we're going to have another chance of snow or rainstorms, high chance of precipitation, high of 54, low of 27. And then Tuesday, finally, it's going to start to warm up again. So if you get cold or if you get sick of the hot chocolate already and you want to maybe break out those hiking shoes for one more day, Tuesday will be the day. High of 59, low of 31. That's all for Aggie weather. Up next, Jason Borba shows us how Utah State soccer did in their first ever Mountain West home game.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Orban here to get you caught up on any Aggie sports you may have missed over the weekend. For the first time since 2010, BYU is back in Logan to face Utah State. After the Aggies dropped the last two meetings against their in-state rival, they were hoping the home field would help them get their victory. Allie Kubik was on the sideline to bring you the big plays.
Students stormed the stands after camping out all night for the best seats at USU's second home game. After falling behind 7-0, the Aggies were able to force Taysom Hill to fumble, leading to this tying touchdown pass from Keaton to Van Leeuwen. The energy was sapped from the stadium after this play as Keaton took off on a quarterback scramble where he gets hit and hurts his knee. Keaton needed help getting to his feet and walking off the field. He went to the locker room where he was further evaluated. Keaton never returned and Craig Harrison would finish the game.
Obviously, Chucky's the great leader of this whole team and of his offense. Losing him is obviously a huge blow to us as a team.
In the second half, the game was dominated by BYU. 3 unanswered touchdown passes from Hill to Matthews takes the score to 31-7. Utah State was able to get a garbage time touchdown against BYU's second team defense. Coach Wells says that it wasn't the preparation that was the problem.
I mean, we game planned our tail off
whether it was Air Force or Weber State or San Jose State. Every one of our kids prepare, they train, they practice. It doesn't matter who the opponent is at the end. Did we want to win? Yeah, absolutely. You're dadgum right we did.
The Aggie offense never really got started tonight, especially after Chucky Keaton went down with an apparent knee injury. Immediately after the game, the team isn't aware to the extent of that knee injury, but they are more than prepared to move forward with Craig Harrison at quarterback next week against Boise State. For Romney Stadium, Lee Kubik, ATV News.
Utah State announced Saturday that Chucky tore his ACL and MCL in his left knee, ending his season. He will undergo surgery this week and is expected to be out for 8 months. USU will try to move on without Keaton Saturday when they take on Boise State. The women's soccer team is back to their winning ways after a 5-game stretch where they lost 4 games, including 3 in a row, and tied the other. The losing streak came to an end against UNLV, and the Aggies look to make it 2 consecutive wins on Sunday when they hosted Wyoming. We pick up the action in the second half with the score tied at 0. Aggies forward Jennifer Flynn takes on the entire Wyoming defense and dribbles it all the way in for the goal in the 51st minute. Wyoming didn't have many scoring opportunities, but this shot by Sarah Paul forced Jeannie Roller into a great save. Flynn, she was all over the place in the second half and almost scored another goal with this rocket of a shot, but the Cowgirls keeper comes up with a brilliant save. USU goes on to win 1-0, and players are glad to be back on the winning track.
When we lost against Arkansas 3-2, that was just a heartbreak, and we lost a lot of confidence, and we're finally getting that back, and so we're building the team back up with that.
The Aggies will try to make it 3 in a row on Friday when they take on former WAC rival Fresno State on the road. USU volleyball is sitting in 5th place in the Mountain West, and we're looking to climb up the standings and notch their 4th win in conference play when they hosted the University of New Mexico on Thursday. Fans made their way out of the cold and into the Spectrum to cheer on the Aggies. It was a close first set with New Mexico edging out USU 25-20. The Lobos jumped out to an early 8-3 lead in the second set, and the closest the Aggies would get is 14-18. New Mexico would win the set 25-15. In the third set, USU showed some fight, taking a 4-point lead, but the Lobos would respond. With the set tied at 11, New Mexico went on a run and put the game out of reach, winning it 25-18 and sweeping the Aggies. After the game, players and coaches were disappointed with the loss.
It was a rough night for us. Just wasn't our night. We weren't really clicking. We didn't have enough passion. We weren't playing like we usually play.
It's kind of us now, you know. It's incumbent upon us to be a little bit better, hit the ball smarter, and we started out okay, and then that went away real fast, so that's kind of a drag.
The team is back on the road when they take on 13th ranked Colorado State on Thursday and then Wyoming on Saturday. Also worth mentioning, USU Golf came in 2nd place in the University of Utah Invitational, and no makeup dates have been announced for the soccer and volleyball games that were canceled over the weekend against Air Force due to the government shutdown. All right, you're now caught up on everything Aggie sports, but stick around because there's more ATV news coming up. Find out what this green stuff is and how it affects you, and what happened at the technology fair last night.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
In the future. Research being done by professors and students at Utah State University on algae growth at the Logan Lagoons can make this a possibility. Our Bradley Wells went to find out more.
Algae growth research has been going on in Logan for around 5 years now.
What we're working on is to grow the algae on a surface so you can simply scrape the algae off the surface. It's like high-tech farming. In this case, the crop is algae, and the nutrients are supplied free, and the water's free, and the sunlight's free.
This gives professors and students a place where they can perform research on large amounts of algae and actually apply what they are learning to real-world situations.
The actual rotating algal biofilm reactor was invented by a gentleman before my time by the name of Logan Christensen. I got brought onto the project, as I mentioned, to actually mathematically model the growth and the nutrient removal rates.
The Logan Lagoons as a test site to develop the technology to apply it to other lagoon systems in Utah to save other communities money.
One of the primary variables that controls the rate at which algae grows is temperature. We built the greenhouse in order to see, to ensure that we can grow algae during the winter months when it's cold, as well as see if we can't maximize that productivity by better controlling the temperature and the light.
So researchers wrap rope just like this on drums, so that way they can grow algae in a biofilm as opposed to suspension.
In the future, we'll take the biofilm reactors and put them directly in the wastewater.
This will give researchers the chance to use the algae growth as a way to remove nitrogen and phosphorus from the wastewater.
I love it out here. I'm much happier out here in the lagoons than I am in the lab.
Bradley Wells, ATV News.
Logan City Mayor Randy Watts is working with Utah State University to use this research to potentially reduce waste management costs in the future.
Over 50 firms attended Tuesday's career fair, and many students took advantage of the opportunity. Caesar Abbott shows us what happened.
As part of several career fairs here at Utah State University, the technology fair included several companies that ranged from fields in engineering, information technology, manufacturing, telecommunications, and government defense. Although many students don't know it, these types of fairs are essential for networking, and one doesn't even have to be studying engineering nor IT, because some of these companies are searching for people with a degree and the necessary skills to think critically, solve problems, and interact with people.
We are always wanting to tap into good engineering and technical schools like Utah State has, so that's our main opportunity for coming here.
One of the advantages of having fairs like this at Utah State is that it gives the chance to students to interview with over 50 firms at just one location, so students don't have to seek them out. It also gives them the chance to interact with a recruiter right on site, so when they go apply online, they already have someone inside the company that could advocate for them. Many students came to this year's technology career fair and took advantage of the many opportunities there were to interview with recruiters.
Yeah, one of the things that we hear most frequently from our employers is that they love coming to Utah State's fair because we have a great student body that has, a lot of them, work experience. And not even so much work experience in the field, but they've developed a good work ethic because so many of them are going to work while putting themselves through school.
Even some event attendees were furloughed, but said they will attend the Fall Career Fair on October 23rd if the government reopens. Caesar Abbott, ATV News.
All right, if you missed the technology fair, don't worry. There will be other career fairs going on campus. Be sure to check usu.edu/career. There you go, guys.
I will do that.
Have you guys ever been to a career fair?
Nope. High school.
In high school?
I had to go to one.
We probably should. We probably should do that.
Why? We're journalists. We have our jobs. Come on.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, thanks for joining us here on ATV News.
We hope you enjoy your week and come see us again next week.
Coming up on ATV over again.
We'll show you why the show...